Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. This is Jeff Stanislow, and it's time to go low right here on AM 820. This is your host from Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. If you want to check out the new membership offerings that we have a free membership and we have a paid membership, but you get access to great deals. So today we have Caddy's Corner and our friend Mike Hicks, Payne Stewarts Caddies with us, and we're going to talk about the U.S. Open. It's coming up. It's right around the corner, and there's nobody better to talk about the U.S. Open than a guy that's walked the hallowed grounds of Shinnecock Golf Course with PGA professionals, including famed Payne Stewart. How you doing this morning, Mike?
Doing great, Jeff. Doing great. How about you?
Good. Thanks for joining us again, Mike. And we got one of the big events, a lot of hype going on around Shinnecock this year, the U.S. Open. And, why don't you give us a little bit of just kind of overall perspective of what these players can expect on this golf course? I'm reading all this stuff saying it's going to play, really, really hard. So,
well, it is one of the harder tests when the U.S. Open's there. It's a very difficult test. Really, it'll depend on the weather. If it's soft, then you'll see some pretty good scores, probably. They're never going to go real deep there, I don't think, but you'll see some scoring. But if it's firm and fast, then par's your friend for sure. It's a very difficult test. The greens are very slopey. They get them, I think, at 2000, what was it, 2005 we were there, I think. Something like that. I mean, I was caddying for Lee Jansen, and it was maybe four or five. I'm not sure what year it was, but the greens were so fast and so firm. I think Goosen won that one. Just a very, very, very difficult test of golf. But so if it's playing that way, you're going to see, over par could win the tournament. If it's hard and fast and we get some wind, which, it's right near the ocean. So, I mean, you're going to get some breeze every day, but if it really blows, then it becomes just a very, very difficult test.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we talked about the Masters too, this is Jeff Stanislow, and you're listening to Let's Go Low here on AM 820. This episode with our friend of the Caddy Corner, Mike Hicks. Payne Stewarts Caddy is brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. Check out all the great deals that we have. 18 different brands are available for you for discounts, and check out golfersunite.com. You mentioned that at the Masters too, the conditions are everything in a golf course. I mean, you look at what happened, last weekend at the Byron Nelson, right? They put $25 million into renovating the course, try to make it tougher. There was a one shot stroke difference between Scotty Scheffler's win with 31 under and this weekend's win with Clark at 30 under. They just tore that golf course up. But I bet you, the conditions were great. They got some rain. They were soft. People were sticking it, and it was a fantastic round of golf. But when you mention the conditions, I mean that's night and day difference for the golfer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Listen, these guys are so good today that if their ball is stopping where they hit it, whether it be a tee shot, where it pretty much plugs in the fairway, makes the fairway wide. If the shots are holding on the green, the greens become much more playable. And they had a lot of rain in Dallas last week prior to the tournament. Hence ball in hand the first 2 days. So when I don't care where they're playing, how long the course is, how difficult it can play. If it's soft out and there's no wind, these guys are going to shoot it up. They're going to shoot low scores. Now, the changes Lanny made at TPC Craig Ranch, If it's ever firm and fast, then yeah, it'll probably be a more difficult test. You'll, maybe see under 20 under win, 17, 18 under might win. But, if it's soft, they're going to shoot that place up. Now Shinnecock, if it's soft, they're not going to shoot anywhere near those kind of scores. I mean, you might see, 7, 8 under win if it gets soft. 10 maybe somebody might get it to double digits if it's no wind and soft. But if it gets no rain, firm and fast at Shinnecock, it'll be the low single digits to even around par if the wind blows.
Right. This is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to Let's Go Low here, right on AM 820, every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Talking with Mike Hicks in our caddy corner. Now, Mike, the U.S. Open is a little bit different because anybody can qualify. And I think you just have to have like a scratch index, and you go through qualifying across the nation. Tell us a little bit about, that format, and is it, something that you like, or is it something that it seems like, the fans love it, right? Because anybody can actually qualify and go to the U.S. Open. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it's the Open, so it's open to, like you said, open to everybody. And the format they use there, I mean, it's fair. I mean, for guys that have tour cards and that have some sort of status, they're exempt into the final stage. Everybody else has to go through, you have to go through a sectional, which is, somewhere around where you live. If you get through that, then you get to go to a regional. And then that one's that's a long day. That's a 36 hole day. I've done many of them. And it's a brutal test. And, and it's like anything, I mean, some guys, that's why you see so many, college kids and guys that, have never played in a professional event qualify, because that if they make it through the sectional, they get to regionals and they have a great day, which is, it's kind of a shot in the dark. I mean, you got to have it that day for 36 holes to qualify, but some guys do it, and which makes it fun. It makes it fair, for everyone that tries to qualify. So I like the format. I don't think they'll ever change that, because it is the U.S. Open, which means it's open to anybody.
Yeah, I like that. And you got these regional qualifiers and things of that nature. And then, the whole field is 156, people going, but it's like my friend Jimmy Stanger actually qualified. He was down in Texas, and so he's going to the U.S. Open. He's got his PGA Tour card, but got it done. He wasn't, given an eligibility spot. He went out and earned it. This is Jeff Stanislaw, and you're listening to another great episode of the Let's Go Low Show right here on AM 820 every Saturday morning. And we appreciate you tuning in. We're talking with Mike Hicks, Payne Stewarts caddy, and we're talking about the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. So, it's interesting. Shinnecock, the U.S. Open this year is June 18th through the 21st. There's 156 competitive slots. It is playing at 7,440 yards, and an incredible golf course, an incredible place. But this one's a tough one to get to, right? It's in Long Island.
Oh, it's a nightmare venue. If you're involved in it, it's logistically it's a tough place to be for the week. With traffic and but the USGA does a really good job, and they've always done a pretty good job of getting people in and out. I mean, people are bussed in. You don't really get to the fans don't really get to get too near the golf course as far as parking goes. I think they bus them in. So if you're credentialed, they're they one-way streets and stuff where you can get in pretty easy. But logistically, it's a tough venue, 100%.
So, on top of that challenge, and then in 2025 was a historic round of golf for JJ Spawn, right? He
Yeah.
won the Open. He shoots 40 on the back nine. They have a rain delay, and all of a sudden the guy comes out on fire and just like was knocking everything down and wins that, that epic, hoists the trophy in an epic way. That was an incredible storyline for JJ Spawn.
Yeah, well, he shoots 40 on the front. They have the delay, which had they not had the delay, he's not going to find his swing. He's not going to, be able to reboot. And like you said, I mean, he shoots 40 on the front. They had the delay, and I've talked to JJ about this, and he agreed with me. Had they not had the delay, he would have never won the tournament. But he came back out, had 9 holes to go, which is plenty of time in a U.S. Open. I mean, we won the PGA in 1989, being 6 shots back with 9 holes to go, and ended up winning in regulation. The leaders at the time, they backed up. JJ played great on the back 9 with I don't know how many birdies he made, but he made up that deficit, made the long putt at 18 to, secure the win. So you just never know. I mean, those major championships, when you're playing on a very difficult golf course, if you're within 5 or 6 with 9 to go, you're still got a shot. Now, granted, you need help and you've got to play good, but JJ outplayed everybody last year of those final 9 holes, and he obviously got help. But like I said, you have to play good, and you need help if you're that far back.
Yeah. This is Jeff Stanislaw. Let's Go Low right here, AM 820, every Saturday morning, brought to you by Golfers Unite. If you guys get a chance, go to golfersunite.com. Check out our membership offerings. We have a free membership where you get access to 4 deals for free. And if you want additional 14 deals for major brands, you can do the pro membership just for $30 for the year. Check out golfersunite.com. This is the Caddy Corner, and we're talking to Mike Hicks, Payne Stewarts caddy. Mike, in your experience, like in working with golfers, some will take a delay and fold, and some will take a delay and just go nuts. We just talked about JJ Spawn. When you were playing, when you were caddying, when a delay came, how was Payne's reaction? Like, what did he do to prepare himself?
Well, see, here's the deal. It depends on how things are going. If things are going good, you don't want the delay, right?
Right.
Because now all of a sudden, are you going to have it when you go back out? In JJ's case last year, the delay couldn't have happened at a better time, right? Because it gave him a chance to reboot, go warm up. Maybe he obviously found something that was clicking in his swing, because he just striped at those last 9 holes. Whereas the first 9, he didn't have a clue what was going on, right? So if you're going good, you don't want the delay. But your guys got it. You want to keep going. And because you don't know. I mean, most times what happens is it goes in reverse. You go back out, you don't have the same feel. You don't have, the same mojo going. So, it can be detrimental and it can be an asset. So it really depends on how things are going. It's what you're looking for. If things are going bad, the delay, you want it, let's try and reboot. But if you're going good, that's the last thing you want.
Yeah. This is Mike Hicks, and you're listening to Let's Go Low, the Caddy Corner. Mike is Payne Stewarts caddy, talking about the U.S. Open, the 2026 at Shinnecock, which kicks off on Thursday, June 18th. Shinnecock is in Long Island. And so, Mike, when it comes down to, hoisting the trophy, and then you get the Jack Nicklaus medal, and you were right. It was Retief Goosen in 2004 at Shinnecock, or 2004 at Shinnecock, that you had mentioned.
Yeah.
What is going through the mind of a professional golfer when they're looking at a course that is that challenging and set up for just absolute discipline of the golfer? How are they preparing for it?
Well, listen, the U.S. Open is a unique tournament in itself. It tests every part of your game more so mentally than anything else. So, and I'll say this: you get a 156-man field. There's probably 50 guys that can win that tournament.
Right.
And throw 100 of them out the window. It ain't gonna happen.
Well, fantastic. This is Jeff Stanislaw, and this was another episode of Let's Go Low, and our friend Mike Hicks, who handles the caddy corner for the show right here on AM 820. Don't forget to tune in to the U.S. Open. Begins on June 18th at Shinnecock. Should be a great tournament. This year, everybody's excited about it. This is brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. Thanks again, Mike, for joining us.
You got it, Jeff. Thanks.
Hello, everybody. This is Jeff Stanislaw, and it's time to go low right here on AM 820, where you're getting your great golf content every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Today, we are talking further with Mike Hicks, Payne Stewarts caddy. We wanted to bring him on for a second segment because there's an important thing going on that everybody may be aware of. Most people, if you're a golfer, you're definitely aware of. We wanted to talk about the LIV and all the things going on with the LIV tournament. And what better person to talk to than someone that's been around the PGA for a long time, working with professional golfers like Payne Stewart, and has just been in the industry for a very long time. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. Good to be back.
So, Mike, there's a lot of controversy going on in LIV. Day one, trying to upset the whole PGA. And, I think they did a good job of kind of recognizing that the PGA, has some vulnerabilities, right? But I probably think they underestimated the strength of the brand, the overall brand, and, the golf community. And I understand, they try to do some things different. Can you talk to us a little bit about just like what your thoughts are overall on the LIV coming to market? What was good about it? What wasn't good about it? And then, we'll talk into some more recent stuff with LIV deciding to pull some funding and where you think it goes from there.
Well, the PGA Tour had no competition for years. And, they were nonprofit organization, given to charity, whatnot. And I think LIV just, opened the eyes to a lot of people about how the PGA Tour was structured, what they were doing with their money. And there's still a lot of gray area there with, all the players that get up to become a vested member, that retirement fund. I mean, where's all that money coming from? I mean, look at the amount of money they owe Tiger Woods. I mean, and from what I've heard, they actually asked Tiger to reinvest his retirement into the tour. And Tiger said no. So now I don't know how true that is. That's just rumor. That's just what I've heard from some people that are on the know, so to speak. But what it did, it just opened the eyes. It created competition. And you see now the tour has changed their whole thought process as far as scheduling goes. They've hired this NFL, former NFL guy, management guy that's coming in to run the tour now. And, they're going to model it after an NFL schedule. From what I understand, they're going to go down to 20 tournaments, which in my opinion is not the right way to go because, look, it's not a contact sport, golf, obviously. You have to play golf to stay sharp. So, I'm a little skeptical on the whole scheduling thing because, what kind of quality golf are you going to get with just 20 tournaments? Then you throw the 4 majors in, that's 24 events. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know if they're going down the right road or not. But Live created competition. It's opened the eyes to maybe some team golf stuff, which I think went over well. I think that's a really good idea. There's a guy I know, I won't mention his name, but he's been in the golf industry for a very, very, very long time, almost as long as I have been, that's trying to start another tour, that the team format is a part of that. And there's a great need for another tour, because you have so many people trying to play golf for a living, and there's nowhere for them to go. The PGA Tour is basically impossible to get your card out there now. They've cut the Corn Ferry down to 20 cards. And even if you get a card from the Corn Ferry with the current model they got, who knows how many tournaments you're going to get in. So, it's all messed up. Everything is, it's messed up. What are they going to do with all these Live guys now coming back? Are they going to welcome them back? So there's a lot of gray areas there. And I will say this too, the PGA Tour has always had, I call it a freak. Tiger was a freak, just an incredible player. They always had Nicholas, they had Watson, Palmer, Player, Greg Norman. They've always had a, freak of nature, a very iconic personality that's pushed the needle, right? That's sold TV contracts. Well, the Tiger effect is gone. Now, I love Scotty Scheffler. I love him. He's a Christian. He's a great man. He's a great player. But he's just, he just goes about his business. He's not flamboyant. He's not a great big personality. Whereas Bryson is the freak that the PGA Tour needs. He plays differently with the same length clubs. He hits the ball further than anybody. Everything he does in a unique way. His putting style, everything about him. He can move the needle. The PGA Tour really needs Bryson back, in the fold. They got the new TV contract coming up. And I can tell you right now, this new TV contract is not going to be anywhere near what the last one was worth, because they still had Tiger. They don't have Tiger anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Yes. This is Mike Hicks, Payne Stewarts caddy. You're listening to another great episode of the Let's Go Low Show. Your host, Jeff Stanislaw. This is brought to you by Golfers Unite. If you visit golfersunite.com, you can become a free membership, get access to 4 fantastic brands and some deals, become a premium member for $30 a year, and get access to 14 more. So go check out golfersunite.com, click on the membership button, and see what you can do. Yeah, Mike, one of the things that I thought Live did was just the disruption, right? So disrupting an industry makes the incumbent kind of rethink some things, makes the incumbent, try to make the product better, opens up its weaknesses, looks at its strengths, like does a SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I think good will come of it. I think where Live kind of made a mistake is they tried to make too big of a splash. I thought a better strategy would maybe to have them try to take out the Corn Ferry, create the next generation, or that, kind of new cornerstone, the new Tiger effect player, maybe structure contracts with them that are a little bit different, have them get paid, you know what I mean? So these younger players can work at it like a job, get better at, hone at their skills, survive the industry. I mean, you've seen a lot of great players not survive the industry just because, they just didn't have enough wins or enough sponsors, but they could have made it throughout the years. And then maybe do a contract where they get a portion of that player's earnings and future earnings, or future sponsorship deals, and they can build something different. But, they chose to make the big splash. And now, PIF has decided not to fund it as much as they do. So they have a whole new, business plan, a business model that they got to come up with. So they got a lot of challenges ahead. Just my thoughts on how they went to market, but I think they did open up the eyes of a lot of golfers, a lot of people that love golf into the business side of things. So they understand more from the player's perspective. They understand more from the organization's perspective, how it makes money, what it does. You mentioned the retirement fund and how it operates. It just gave golfers a new insight to the business and the industry itself. This is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to another great episode of Let's Go Low. We're talking with Mike Hicks, Payne Stewarts caddy. We had him back because we wanted to talk about PIF. So we extended another segment of the caddy corner with Mike. If you kind of take a look at the Live right now, what would you kind of think their next step is? I know Bryson wants to try to make it work, and Bryson's open to new investors, with a new business plan. But also on the flip side, he's also said, hey, I'm willing to come back if they take me back in the PGA, but he has some demands. What are your thoughts on, viewer Live, or what you think would be good?
Well, first of all, when all this went down, the PGA Tour made the mistake of just playing hardball and not working with Live. They could have worked all this out where they could have played a schedule after the FedEx, right? Played in the fall, paid these guys what they're paying. Obviously wouldn't have been as much money. And another thing, money is not always, but money runs everything. And it's like our federal government. You just throw money at it and think that's going to solve the problem, right? And all Liv did was it's basically bankrupting the PGA Tour. Now, from what I understand, and I don't know how true this is, but again, somebody in the know, the PGA Tour lost $450 million last year. That is not sustainable, So it's throwing money at something is not always the answer. And like I said before, the tour should never have played Fincham or who was the last commissioner? Guy just retired.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think he did some injustice.
He did not. They should have never played hardball. They should have worked something out with Liv, where you don't have all this chaos going on now that they're going to fold. And I can tell you right now, Liv is going away. Nobody's going to start throwing that kind of money around, to keep something like that alive. Now, will the PGA Tour adopt some of the ideas that Liv had, whereas being more fan friendly with music and basically a big party to attract the younger generation in, and to make golf more of a real entertainment industry, right? Maybe, who knows? I don't think you'll see that when they go to the 20 tournament schedule, where they're all elevated events, $20 million. You're not going to see that kind of atmosphere at those events, but maybe they'll add another 10 where you do have, more of a party atmosphere, a lighter, more casual feel to the tournament, where the guys are in shorts, just a lighter atmosphere. Maybe they go down that road. But Liv's going away. I mean, you're not going to, that's not going to be around much longer. And like I said, the tour can't afford to pay these guys, back when I was caddy, man, there were no appearance fees in the U.S.
Right.
If a U.S. player would go overseas, and because the fields were so, not bad, but if you were like a Payne Stewart got paid lots of money to go overseas and play. Like one year I went 4 different trips to the European tour. We were higher on the European tour money list than we were in America, because, he was getting all this appearance money, and we go over there and play their events. That didn't happen. U.S. players were not paid in the U.S. Appearance money. Now these guys are getting paid appearance money. It's the whole thing is kind of crazy right now. The world of golf is just crazy. But I think eventually they'll work all this out. We as fans deserve to see all the great players of the world playing together, because that's where you're going to get the most quality for your, the bang for your buck and high quality golf. But I don't think you're going to see, I don't think you're going to see live, I don't think that's going to survive. And how the tour is going to welcome these other guys back, I don't know. I don't know how that's all going to go down, but we do as fans deserve to see all these guys playing together again, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see, how the live happens. I agree with you. This is Jeff Stanislow. You're listening to another wonderful episode of Let's Go Low with our guest, Mike Hicks, on the Caddy Corner. Mike was Payne Stewarts caddy. So you guys are getting to hear it right from someone who's got 40 years of experience, been there on the course, won majors, throughout his career. So, but Mike, the live, I think, is going to be done, but I think the PGA it's got to bring back those players. It's in need of another Tiger effect. I mean, I think the industry, you look at a young man like Blades Brown, the hype that he's getting, the young man that played pretty well last weekend, the Byron, the Ole Miss player, did a fantastic. I think the industry is jonesing for, another Tiger. And I don't know if Bryson is that guy now. He's charismatic. I love his attitude, regarding this whole live thing. He's like, I just got to keep my head down, go back to work every day. I love the game of golf. I want it to grow. People, he's controversial. He's different. He's unique, but he's got to win. He's got two majors. I think he needs to win some more to get in that category where he can be the Bryson effect. In closing, just, I appreciate your time coming in here week in and week out to share some insights on the golf industry. Mike Hicks, Payne Stewarts caddy. This is Jeff Stanislow. You're listening to Let's Go Low right here on AM 820 every Saturday morning. We appreciate you, and keep it straight in the fairways, my friends. Thank you very much. Welcome back, everybody. This is your host for the Let's Go Low show right here on AM 820, the Big 8 in Tampa Bay. We appreciate you guys all tuning and listening into the station. This is your host, Jeff Stanislow, and this episode is brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com, our friends at Found Golf Balls, foundgolfballs.com. Enter the promo code Golfers Unite 20 and receive 20% off your next order. And one more, AMAC, the Association of Mature Adult Citizens, amac.us. So everybody, it's another weekend here in Tampa. It's Saturday morning and you're tuning in, and we have another great guest with us. We have our friend Molly Mahalik, and Molly is with Bherdy Golf, and she is bringing a brand new brand to the market for women's golf apparel. Thanks for joining us today, Molly.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. Happy to be here.
It's great. So I followed you on socials a little bit, and I found out that you're right here in Tampa, and I reached out and I said, hey, do you want to be on the radio show? I'd love to find out a little bit more about Bherdy Golf. And you came back with a big yes. So I appreciate you doing this. Why don't you take us a little bit back in your story about coming up with the brand concept and why you did it, and tell us a little bit about Bherdy.
Absolutely. Would love to. Yeah. So my name is Molly Mahalik. As Jeff mentioned, the founder of Bherdy Golf, a modern women golf apparel line. And the idea kind of came from me as a new golfer post-grad. I played college volleyball, funny enough, but I picked up golf because it was something that I was surrounded by from my father. He's a big golfer. And when I started to play, I realized that there was a little bit of a gap in the women's golf apparel industry. And, not saying that I didn't love all women's golf apparel clothes, but it didn't really cater to my needs and my wants, what I was going to play on the course. And what I realized that women's golf needed was more functional and modern pieces. And I have a very designer and creative mindset, very designer mind. And I was like, I feel like I can contribute something to this industry. So I started to design pen to paper some products that I thought would be really, really useful for me on the course. One of which is our Bherdy hole-in-one skirt. And the skirt is made to be more functional on and off the course. So we can get a little bit more into that later, but kind of just started from a creative mindset of how can I tap into this industry and make it more women friendly as far as apparel goes.
Right, right. Fantastic. This is Jeff Stanislaw, your host of the Let's Go Low show here, right on AM 820 in your Tampa Bay neighborhood, and also talking to a Tampa Bay golf company. And we're speaking with Molly Mahalik, and she is the founder of Bherdy Golf. And she was looking to find, fill a gap in the women's golf clothing apparel line. Probably maybe because you weren't so excited to go shopping for women's golf. And you said, hey, I can do better. I love it. Why don't you tell us a little bit? You said your dad plays golf and you played collegiate volleyball, and you got done with your degree. Tell us a little bit about the relationship with you and your dad and golf and coming up with this business. I would imagine it's really strengthened, the relationship with him and your family.
Absolutely. So I grew up watching my dad play golf, and my parents really wanted me to get into the sport when I was younger. However, it was too slow for me. I liked the immediate sport, the contact, so the basketballs, the soccer, the volleyball. And so I pursued volleyball to scratch that itch. But after playing volleyball for 8 years post-grad, I was ready for something a little bit slower paced. So I always knew deep down, as time went on, golf would be down the line. And it became that time after playing college volleyball. I was ready for something that was low impact, didn't hurt my joints. And now some might say it still does, but definitely not to the extent of hitting the ground as much on the court. So started picking up golf a little bit more, and it allowed me to scratch that competitive itch I had while also still having fun with the game. So with my dad still playing, he lives on the east coast of Florida where golf is just everywhere. So it allowed us to, rekindle our relationship as adults, but also be able to be competitive and have fun outside. And he teaches me so much about golf, and it's fun to see him in his element and what he's passionate about. And I know it brings him a lot of joy to have me out there alongside next to him.
Yeah, fantastic. I've seen you on some of your socials with your dad golfing and doing promo videos and just looking like a joy. And it's a pretty common theme with a lot of these kind of startup brands, especially someone younger like yourself being influenced by a father figure or an uncle or a friend that loves golf and just finding a need and filling it. This is Jeff Stanislaw, your host of Let's Go Low. You're listening to another great episode here on a Saturday morning in Tampa. On the Big 8 Radio, Tampa 820. We appreciate you guys tuning in very much. This episode is brought to you by Golfers Unite. It's golfersunite.com and our friends at Found Golf Balls at foundgolfballs.com. And we worked out a deal. If you want to get 20% on a discount on your golf balls, new to you, even though they have pristine Pro V1s, they just can't repackage them as new. Go to foundgolfballs.com, enter the promo code GolfersUnite20. Now back to Molly, our guest, Molly Mahalik, and she's the founder of Bherdy Golf. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're at now in building your brand, Molly? I see you have the apparel line. I've seen you kind of putting some stuff into some pro shops and things of that nature. Tell us where you're at.
So I like to preface my brand as not just a clothing line, but more like a concept, because for me, just starting off playing golf, it's a really intimidating sport. And I feel like for girls, it almost feels prestigious, it's intimidating, and I wanted to break that barrier of, whether it's your first time swinging a club in your life versus your thousandth swing of a golf club, having a line that makes you feel comfortable and confident on the course. And off the course as well. We're marketing this brand as golf leisure because at the end of the day, everybody wants to feel like they belong to something that they can represent outside of the club or on the field or on the court, off the course. So, for us, it's stepping off the golf course, being able to proudly represent the sport that you play. So, we have pieces without collars, without tees, without ball markers on them, because maybe you want to go for a walk outside and represent Bherdy, represent golf. So yeah, it kind of started with that, and where we are today, like you had mentioned, we're getting into more golf courses, which is it's been showing a lot of promise for the brand. We just launched at the start of 2026, and we're already seeing sell through at the courses that we're in, especially here in Florida. We started locally, and we can't keep products on the shelf, which is super, super exciting for the brand.
That's really exciting. Do you have at any clubs here in the Tampa Bay area that your brand Bherdy is at?
Yes, we do. We are actually at Mainlands and Cove K right now. So if closer on the St. Pete side, but if you ever make it over to St. Petersburg, please feel free to check out Mainlands and Cove K, where you'll find our Bherdy products there, which is super exciting. And I know that the public courses, they're super excited to have us part of their pro shop community.
Yeah, it is exciting. It's an exciting journey. Golfers Unite is not a legacy brand. It's relatively new, and we understand the sense of community and belonging to something, and that's what the whole purpose of Golfers Unite is to get people to come in and meet other golfers and join and get access to deals and connect and play golf and just grow the game. So we can really appreciate that and resonate with that mission. We're talking with Molly Mihelic. She is the founder of Bherdy Golf. Why don't you tell us where people can find you? Are you online and selling your apparel online? And then maybe some of your socials, so if someone wants to follow you on social.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're online at birdygolf.com. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Bherdy Golf. So pretty easy to remember. And just to touch on what the Bherdy stands for, it's not your traditional BIRDIE spelling, it's BHERDY. So it really embodies the her aspect. We really wanted to put out a line for women, because there's so many brands for men today, and it's great, but I do think that there is a need in the women's golf apparel industry for just more functional modern pieces. Like I mentioned before, one of our hero products is a golf skirt that holds your tees, your balls, and your ball marker. And nobody thinks that you need all three in one, but you'd be surprised how many times you're on the green and you're running back to the golf cart to get a ball marker you forgot, or you're running back from the tee box to get a tee. So a lot of men, they have the pockets and they've got a lot of great pieces, but we don't want to leave women behind in the process. So
yeah, certainly. We're speaking with Molly Mihelic. She's the founder of Bherdy Golf, and it's HERDY with emphasis on the her in it. I love it. It's very unique and interesting. I'll have to try to make a connection with some people in the Tampa Bay area. I just had Brittany Lincecum on the radio show a couple of weeks ago, former LPGA superstar, Bam Bam. And I think you've met Emily at Golfers Unite, who also has a brand that and trying to make women not feel uncomfortable in the game of golf, called Fairway Femme Club. So you guys can connect. This is Jeff Stanislaw, your host of Let's Go Low, right here on AM 820, the Big 8, every Saturday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. This segment is brought to you by our friends at AMAC. It's the Association of Mature Adult Citizens, amac.us. So, in conclusion here, Molly, we're going to wrap some things up. Where do you want to take the brand in the next year to 3 or 5 years?
Great question. There's a lot that we want to do with the brand, and there's so much room for growth. And I think for us right now, it's really just brand visibility, trying to get Bherdy out there, and everyone to be aware of what we're about, what our products are. So, this time next year, we're looking at trying to get into the PGA show, right? That would be huge for us. And when we launched this year, it was too soon, but next year it's completely achievable. But we want to just keep getting into more courses, more clubs, more partnerships. We're doing sponsoring golf outings. We were just at Innisbrook for a women's event. We sponsored the ladies member guest at the Vinoy. So more exposure to events like that, more partnerships. We're looking to bring on more golf ambassadors. So if you're a woman golfer out there listening in, or even if you're just getting into the game, we want more women showing the face of Bherdy. So yeah, that's a great question, but the sky's the limit for us, and we're just moving forward every day.
Wonderful insight in regards to it. And it's hard. It's not easy, is it? Everybody comes up with a brand and then think they're just gonna, the millions are gonna start rolling in. It's a grind, isn't it?
It's a grind, it's ebbs and flows, good days, bad days, but it's the bad days that challenge you, but it's the good days that show you exactly why you're doing what you're doing. It might be a couple bad days and then one really good thing happens, or someone comes up to you, a stranger, and tells you, hey, I saw your brand here and my friends and I got it and we love it. We were telling our friends about it. And it's moments like that where, you're reminded of, I'm doing this not just for me and for making my life easier, but those around. People are seeing the value, they're seeing the purpose and the drive. And I think to be in this industry, as Jeff, you're probably well aware, you can't give up. It's the good and the bad and the motivation and the challenge that excites you and ignites you. So yeah, I'm ready for the path forward and excited for what the future has in store for Bherdy.
Well, I love the attitude. You listened today here on the Let's Go Low show to Molly Mihalik. She is the founder of Bherdy Golf, and you can find her website at bherdygolf.com, but it's spelled BHERDY, then golf.com. And the her in the Bherdy Golf is appropriate. I can't tell you so much. Again, thanks for tuning in to another great episode of Let's Go Low here right on AM 820, the Big 8 in Tampa, talking with another Tampa native and trying to grow the game of golf and make it all happen for these wonderful, wonderful game that we play and we love so passionate for. This episode is brought to you by golfersunite.com and our friends at foundgolfballs.com. If you want 20%, visit foundgolfballs.com, enter the promo code GolfersUnite20, and tune in next week for another great episode of Let's Go Low.